They've done it again. The Chicago Bears 5-1 beat the Panthers last night 23-16 or yesterday in Carolina. This is your Bears Week 6 recap. Let's get it.
Man, look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
What's really good, my people? Welcome in. You know the squad. Big Nick the Quick. Shout out Dak. Free Dak. Eli K. All the boys in here. Chicago Bears are 5-1. We're unbeatable in close games. That's simple as that. Like that's how I'm looking at it right now. We take care of business in Carolina. The D came out amazing from the first snap. Big Nick the Quick, we'll start with you. We'll jump right into it. A minute in. How do you feel about the game? How do you feel about the win? Give me your first take of the W 23-16 over the Panthers.
Man, I'm gonna do the same thing as last week. Give it the positivity, man. The Chicago Bears are 5-1. Really, several impressive things about that win. I mean, obviously, you can talk about the defense. We can go a whole episode on the defense, just the way they played, how aggressive they played. I've been saying it forever. Chucky needs to let the boys go. Last couple of weeks, he has 100% let the boys go, and they're not disappointing him. One big thing on the D too, man. Like, I don't know that there is a difference between the first couple of weeks and the last couple of weeks, right? It's not like they were playing bad in the beginning of the season. We talked about the numbers. They're only allowing 21, 22 points per game. They were playing okay defense, but we were saying they're missing that spark. They're missing that thing that made this the Chicago Bears defense, the takeaways, the aggressive play. And I can't sit here and tell you whether or not he changed anything schematically. I don't have the eye for that. I can't tell you if he's going zone more, man more, whatever the case may be. But what I can tell you is the way that these boys are playing is completely different, right? They are playing aggressive. They are forcing turnovers. I know that sometimes calls for guys to play out of position. I get it. But the boys are hungry. They're out there making big plays. And for this team to win, due to our, call it inefficiencies on offense, the defense has to show up and be allowed to play that way, right? They have to be allowed to play that way. You got a defense full of playmakers. Outside of Kyle Fuller, you're not looking at like really the most technically sound bunch. So let these guys go out there and freelance. Let them do their thing. Let them go after the quarterback. And it seems like he's done that. And the result is W's against two decent teams, right? Obviously, Tampa Bay last week better than Carolina, but two big wins outside of the division. So that's what we need. Offensively, look, man, there's still a lot to be desired. We still need to fix a lot of things on offense. I think we make timely plays when we need to. But overall, in a game where we really need to bring our offense, I would still be worried about this. But we're not going to focus on the negative right this second. We're going to focus on the positive. This is a championship-level defense. They're having fun. They're back to club dubbing. And the difference between watching a game this is the last I'm going to say this. The difference between watching a game, at some point, like in the third quarter, I looked at my girl and I was like, man, I'm real calm right now. And I'm like, you know what it is? The difference between watching a game quarterbacked by Nick Foles versus quarterbacked by Mitch Trubisky, it's tangible. You can feel it. Like, you're not waiting for the other shoe to drop, even though Foles isn't that great. Does that make sense? Like, you're not waiting for that moment where they're not going to convert. You're not coming up to third down being like, fuck, it's time for defense. You know what I mean? It's just such a different feeling. And the Bears are 5-1.
Absolutely. A lot of stuff to touch on what you just said. K-Baron, give me your first take, and then we could break it all down.
I want to stay positive like Nick was, but my takeaway was that Matt Nagy still is not comfortable as a head coach. He still makes these puzzling decisions that anyone that's played Madden for a few years would figure out. Like, first drive of the game, they have a third down, can't figure out how to line up. They take a timeout, come back out, delay of game. Like, these are things that a seasoned coach needs to figure out. Then at the end of the game, he clearly doesn't trust the running game and the offensive line, validly, might I add, but he still doesn't trust them to pick up 2 yards, so he throws the ball, stops the clock, gives the ball back to Carolina. Thankfully, the defense came through and picked up for the W for them. But Matt Nagy still is figuring things out as a coach, and it's going to cost the Bears, I think, eventually, because you need to have a coach that's on top of it. You saw in the Titans-Texans game, Mike Vrabel basically outsmarted the Texans and won that game for them Meanwhile, the Bears are tripping over themselves and stumbling into wins, which is good. It means that there's room for improvement, but I want to see more out of the head coach moving forward.
I think that's perfect because we're going to obviously talk about the positive, and then we'll get into the negative as well. Let's start with the positive, and then we'll get to what you said. I think you both made valid points, Cameron. I think let me hold my take on Nagy and how he's been going about his business until we get to the negative. But the positive, Nick, you mentioned the defense being allowed to play like that. They need to play like that for us to win. It's simple as that. Like as this team is constructed and how we've been on offense, if the D doesn't play like that, we don't win. We get a big turnover early in Tampa Bay, we win the game. We get a massive turnover yesterday on the opening drive, we win the game. Never give the lead back. It is tough to focus on the positive because it does seem like we're backing into wins, but we're winning close games. We're winning one possession games up there. I think we're us and like Tennessee or something are the teams that are winning. I think that we're both 4-1 in like one possession games or something like that. But Nick, ever since you mentioned, I can't remember what word did you use about the D? They need to get aggressive or they need to. Do you remember exactly what you said? I feel like since you said that, that's exactly what they've done on D.
I don't know, but I mean, I know it was probably a couple of weeks ago, and we were just, again, the numbers, when you pulled out just the pure numbers, like it was like, oh, this is a really good on paper defense. That's why we're going into primetime games. Like, this is a top 5 defense. But if you were watching it, it's like, no, something's really missing. So I know I said they need to be more aggressive was the biggest thing that I think that he was not letting the dogs loose.
Yeah.
Like he needs to be. Because again, these guys are playmakers, man. You can't sit up here and try to over scheme with these guys and play this perfectly sound technical defense, Baltimore Ravens 2001 situation. Like that's not what they're going to do. They're not going to go over there and hold guys to 20 yards rushing. They're not going to go over there and, not let a quarterback get his yards. This defense is just, it's a bend, don't break defense. Like we see it. They get you down to the red zone and then you come away with 3. That is ultimately what they're looking to do. But in between that, they're waiting for you to make a mistake. And that mistake is caused by pressure. And that mistake is caused by having a ball hawking safety who is allowed to roam and break off from his coverage to go make a play if he sees ball. And you have to allow them to do that. And both of those things have to work. The rush has to come, which we've been getting the last couple of weeks. That was the biggest thing. The pass rush in the beginning of the year was not there, and this team is not going to win without pressure, right? And you look at the last couple of weeks, whether it's Quinn, whether it's Mack, whether it's Hicks, but they even blitzed Roquan yesterday at the goal line. When these guys are coming and bringing pressure, that's when this team makes its play. And you got to live with the results. It's not like they give up a ton of big plays, right? Like they don't. So just live with the results of letting those guys go. Understand that, like, yeah, you might get into some shit or you might get 6.
And I thought the big plays that they did give up were really perfectly thrown balls by Bridgewater. And at that point, you just tip your cap and you're like, all right, nice play next time. Like they put Johnson on the island. They put Fuller on the island. Nobody seems to know anymore what is pass interference these days. So you have talented defensive backs go out there and make their plays. I thought they did a really good job on defense getting after Bridgewater. That's a guy that's given them trouble in the past, but they contained him. I think it was 4 sacks, 2 interceptions. So, yeah, a really nice effort by the defense. And like Nick said, that's the kind of team that this Bears team needs to be because if they're letting up touchdowns instead of field goals, the offense can't keep up. So if they're going to do that bend but don't break thing, force the opposing quarterback to make mistakes, that's where the Bears can capitalize.
Yeah, Carolina inside the red zone had 2 possessions of over 10 plays where they had multiple drives of over 10 plays inside the red zone, and we didn't give up 6 on both of those drives. So yeah, bend but don't break.
I got a question. Yeah. So on Bridgewater yesterday, and is this just something with the Bears? I have never seen him run that much.
I was gonna say, bro,
I have never seen him run that much ever.
I honestly didn't know that he could move like that.
Yeah,
you really want to know.
Yeah, was that a game plan thing, or was that just him not seeing anything? Because it seemed like every other play he was tucking and running like that's what he does. And I'm like, that's not Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, no, I think he was getting a lot of pressure, and he was stepping up in the pocket, and he was seeing lanes, and he was taking them. Yeah, but he was running, and he wasn't sliding either.
No, he was running.
No,
I was like, what is this? And I'm watching my girl. She's like, oh, is this guy like a runner? I'm like, absolutely not. He's a statue. Like, he didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. And then you brought up J-Line and Kyle Fuller. This is a question I had for you guys. when I was watching the game, because I've noticed this the last couple weeks, and he's definitely responding to it. But teams are targeting Jalen Johnson, right? Is that more of a function of him being a rookie, or the fact that he plays opposite Kyle Fuller? Because it seems like every game, week in and week out, he is getting target challenged. Like they were throwing to DJ Moore left and right yesterday, and Johnson made some plays, obviously, but yeah, I mean, he just seems like he's getting targeted.
I think it's a little bit of both, right? He's a rookie, and there's only two sides of the field, and if you want to go up the seam, you gotta. I mean, you're
not throwing at Fuller.
I mean, you shouldn't be, right?
Right.
So I think it's a little bit of both. Like, let's target the young guy, and let's try not to target Kyle Fuller. I'll say this: they are targeting him, but he's been holding his own. And like you said, Cameron, it's literally impossible to play cornerback in the NFL. I don't even know how these guys deal with this shit on a weekly basis. It seems impossible. I know there was a little bit of argument. I was on Twitter and talking about the PI call. I thought it was a terrible call. He did hook his hand, but that happens all day long.
A lot of that shit is incidental. It just happens. It's like, come on, man.
Well, there was the one where Robbie Anderson hooked Jalen Johnson, and they called it on Johnson. Like, how do you win, like, as a defensive back? The one on Fuller, it looked like he led with his shoulder and that they intercepted it, and the refs were just like, nope, never mind. We're going to just scratch that and give the ball back to Carolina. Like, I don't understand how you play that position.
Kyle Fuller gets penalized every week on some bullshit. Like,
on some
going out there, he's just going out there trying to play ball, and if he hits someone, he's penalized. If he plays D, he's penalized. Like the Bears in general, I don't know. Maybe it's just because we watch them so much, but I feel like they get so many big penalties in big spots. And
he's literally, Kyle Fuller is trying to turn his whole body so he doesn't touch anything with his head, and he's still getting penalties.
Yeah,
like he's literally, and I'm going to tell you this. He's also dropping the hammer so crazy that the refs feel like they need to like do something.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's popping boys out there.
Like, the dude was shook up. He's like, he must have been a penalty.
Has to be head the way he just hit that.
Textbook tackler. Literally textbook tackler. Like, go back to old school Pee Wee football drills. Like, get in front of your man, break down, drop like that. That he is a textbook tackler.
I mean,
like,
go back to last week.
He's such a good football player.
They on the fumble, he popped dude, and they threw a flag just because it's like
because he's hit too hard for that to be clean.
He's hitting this dude too hard for that to be clean. It doesn't even make any sense.
Would Rodney Harrison make it 3 weeks in 2020 NFL?
Absolutely not.
No way.
He was already the most fined player in NFL history in that era. Like, could you imagine? Like, Goodell would come and be like, "Yeah, no, we're not." He would Vontez Burfict them.
Rodney Harrison wouldn't make it 3 possessions. Forget about it.
We couldn't make it through practice.
Mark Carrier, he would just like spear dudes. It's like, no, that's not happening anymore.
Yeah. All these launch. Who was the guy the Bears used? Merriweather. Remember him?
Brandon
Merriweather?
God.
No skills at all.
He was just diving at people, like having no clue what he was doing.
Yeah.
So, but we're 5-1.
We are.
Nick Foles' big theme in his presser and his quotes post game I was reading were the win ugly thing. First off, I think for me, I couldn't tell you how many times in his post game stuff that he was talking about winning ugly. Like, would you rather win ugly or lose? I'd rather win ugly. Stop even addressing winning ugly. Just say we won the game. Like, the offense, we're working on the offense. It needs to get better. I agree. But we're working on winning games. Stop even it's like the same thing when I hear Nagy go crazy in press conferences and he's addressing every little detail of every question from every reporter. I'm like, bro, just stop entertaining this. We're 5-1. It's a great team win. The defense played great. We're going to get back in the gym, try to get better on offense. Forget about winning ugly. We won 5-1, period. Just lock in that way. Say it like that. I think to talk about Nick Foles for a second, I mean, this is Nick Foles. He's going to throw for 215 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. When we need, he steps up in bigger plays, like the throw to A-Rob earlier or yesterday on 3rd and 7. This is just what it is. The pick he threw was very Trubisky-like. It was egregious.
So awful. I don't understand.
What
was that play call too? I mean, why were we even coming out doing that? I don't understand. It was an egregious pick. It was an egregious play call. We should have never been in that position. There was no reason to go downfield at that point in time.
Yeah,
that was a Matt Nagy special. But no, he cannot throw that ball.
Yeah, he cannot throw that ball. We'll get to Nagy here in a second. But this is what he is. But like you said, Quick, when it seems like it's a big moment or it's a big spot in the game, he's very cool. He's very calm. And you know that he's going to make the right decision. I think the biggest thing, too, is he was getting a fair amount of pressure yesterday. It didn't take one sack.
Yep.
Not one sack. And I don't even want to say this guy's name, but Trubisky in those spots takes at least 2 or 3 sacks. I have no doubt in my mind. So he gets rid of the ball. He makes good decisions, especially in crunch moments like the wheel route last week to Montgomery. This is Nick Foles. This is the quarterback he is. This is who we're going to get. And I remember when we first signed Nick Foles, I said he's not a showstopper, but with this D, the way this D can play and what they're starting to kind of ramp up and show you is that's all we need. Just don't take sacks, get rid of the ball, and try not to turn the ball over like you did yesterday, and we can make some noise.
He has intent. Mitch Trubisky, again, we were going to leave him alone. Maybe after this episode we don't say his name, but he didn't have the intangibles. Like, again, Nick Foles is not the most talented guy. I don't want to go for Nick Foles for the next 4 years. I think we still need to obviously solve our problem at quarterback long term. But again, like watching that game yesterday and just not having that feeling of like crazy anxiety, just waiting for something stupid to happen or something where we're just like, man, that guy's wide open. We overthrow him by 40 yards, or we don't look at our second receiver or whatever it might be. There's the little things that Mitch Trubisky just couldn't do. And he didn't make you feel comfortable watching the game. He did not make you feel comfortable watching the football game. And I didn't have that feeling yesterday with Foles. I was like, all right, we're going to win. You know, we're going to be all right. It might not be the prettiest thing. We talk about winning ugly, whatever it might be. It's a W. Like, I'll take it. With Trubisky, some of these games are losses. Let's just call it what it is. These are losses. We who knows if we win last week? Who knows if we win yesterday? Because it's such a toss-up of what you're going to get really from drive to drive with Trubisky, and I can't live like that.
The Jonathan Vilma, who's announced, I feel like every Bears game this season. Oh, my God. Mr. Captain Obvious. Like, he kept kind of referring to Nick Foles as like he was like Klay Thompson or something. Like he was like this like catch fire 3-point shooter that like would like get on these streaks. To me, Nick Foles is like the ultimate, like if he's open, he'll make it. And if he's not open, it's not going in kind of shooter. Like I'm trying to think of a parallel, like DJ Augustine or something like that. Like he's not like making his own plays. He's just like, if Allen Robinson's open, he has the arm strength and accuracy to hit him. But if there's a zone coverage or someone in his way, it's probably not going to be completed. Like he is serviceable, but the Bears need to have a better balance on offense if they're going to keep winning, because I just don't see Foles marching this team down the field in Lambeau or something, down 6 with 2 minutes to go. Like that's just not the kind of quarterback that I feel that he is right now, especially with the weapons that the Bears have.
Yeah, well, listen, I'll push back on that a little bit because his whole life, his whole quarterback career, I've seen him make plays when they need to be made. We're down 3 touchdowns in Atlanta, and he goes and gets us 4.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah. I mean, if we needed a 2-minute drive in Green Bay to win the division or something like that, I mean, I feel like my confidence is not like we have Aaron Rodgers, but
with this offensive line and these receivers, like I just don't. He looks at Graham, he looks at Robinson, and then he's like, okay, well, I don't know where else to go.
Yeah, no, and I feel that, but I think, I mean, listen, the offense has been pitiful. So like, let's be clear. But if we needed to drive, like Nick said, I'm a little more calm when he's out there than other people.
I trust him to make the right decision.
Exactly. And I think he can go down and make a play if we need to, for sure.
I think one thing that we've added with him too that I've liked the last couple of weeks has been the emergence of, and there's only been a few plays here and there, but Montgomery in the passing game.
Yeah.
You had a good one yesterday. You had that wheel route last week. Like I don't know if that's a Foles, checking out. I know last week he checked out of it, right? That was the one that Manuel Ochoa broke down on TV.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's what happened with the one yesterday too, but he's obviously seeing that. I mean, that's opening up another dimension. So when you talk about him looking at Robinson and looking at Graham, he's obviously looking at Montgomery too. We can't get Mitch to look past his first guy,
right?
Let alone the second or the safety valve, right? So it's almost, like, yeah, to Sean's point, I feel more comfortable with him back there. I feel more comfortable. I think he has more of a chance to make the right decision. One thing on Jonathan Vilma, real quick, Fox, CBS, whoever's giving them to us, stop, bro. I tweeted yesterday, we're 5-1, we're 4-1. Why are we still getting Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma? The best Vilma moment yesterday, after Bridgewater threw the pick at the end of the game, Vilma proudly declares, "This game is over." Thank you.
We understand, yes.
We get it. Thank you, Jonathan Vilma. Yes, it's over. Usually we throw an interception with 14 seconds left in the game. It's typically no one comes back from that. So yeah, it's over. Yeah, he's so bad. Loved him as a player. They railroaded him in New Orleans, but so bad.
They did railroad him in New Orleans. 4 catches for Montgomery for 40 yards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean
to me that's an extension of the running game because they don't trust offensive line to run straight ahead. So they're like, let's get the ball to Montgomery out in space, which I think is a smart idea, but it speaks more to the Bears' issues again.
But it works.
It works though, right? And that's also a loss. The loss of Tariq Cohen, I think, is where you'll see that also. That he's the now pass catching running back is Montgomery.
And if you're Nagy, though, to your point, Connor, it's just more of a reflection of what we can't do. If you're Nagy, that's what you have to do. Then you got to look at what you can do, what you can't do, and try to make up for what you can't do with what you can do. Right? So if you can't run the ball for more than 5 yards, then let's start getting the running back involved in 5-6 yard pass routes. Let's start getting the tight end involved in shorter things. Sean's boy, Cole Kmet, available yesterday, apparently. He was available. He was here.
Did you notice in the first half they did that swing pass to Miller, and then like a Madden play, they did the exact same play to the other side. Like they're just like, let's just try it again. Like let's keep running it.
Yeah, why not? They broke, don't fix it. I mean, the playbook. I'm sure Nagy's playbook is 400 pages, and he's realized with this team you can use about 60 of them.
Yeah,
that's just where you are,
Salute Cole Kmet, first NFL touchdown yesterday. Hey, let's get you a touchdown and then go to you one more time. And then sit down the rest of the game, please.
According to you, it's his first NFL snap too, right?
Yeah, that's my first time seeing buddy. When he caught that and he got up and I saw the back of his jersey, I was like, no fucking way.
Cole Kmet.
That's Cole Kmet.
Learned something about it yesterday. He grew up a Bears fan. He's from somewhere in Illinois, right?
What do you mean you just learned that? Where have you
I think I remember that when he got drafted, but I wasn't paying attention. There's no
only storyline
coverage.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not paying attention to Cole Kmet storylines.
That's the only thing I've told you.
I mean, I assume when he went to Notre Dame, he's from the area. People don't really travel from Notre Dame outside of Jimmy Clausen.
Shout out Jimmy Clausen.
Another Bears Panthers connection.
Yeah, there we go.
That is a Bears Panthers connection.
The kid with the golden arm.
Wow.
Shout out Jimmy Clausen. Yeah, I go deep back.
Man, that was supposed to be Joe Montana. I remember they were hyping him so crazy.
Supposed to look the biggest outside of California ever. Yeah,
it was crazy. Go ahead, Eli.
He rolled up to Notre Dame in a limo. Like he was like, I'm going to win 3 Heismans. It's like,
yeah.
Okay. and he left in a bus.
Pulled up in a limo,
left in a bus. Like, thank you.
The Panthers took him in the second round, and then a year later, they're like, no, we need to take Cam. Like, this is not working.
He stayed in the league for a few years, though. Yeah. He got some checks.
Yeah.
Shout out Jimmy Clausen.
I was not expecting to hear Jimmy Clausen's name this morning.
We've had a Jimmy Clausen and a DJ Augustine reference today, so I think we're on our way.
Okay, let's get to Matt Nagy. I'm going to open it by saying this. This is the conclusion that I've come to with Matt Nagy. He doesn't have great feel in game. He has zero feel for kind of what's going on in the game and what he should be doing. I think it affects his play calling, his decision making, whether to go for it on fourth or not. Should I be running in this spot to make them burn the timeout? I think he doesn't. The way the defense was playing, it's an obvious run to make them burn the timeout. It's not even a question. Like it was very apparent that the D from the first snap was on the Panthers' ass from the beginning. And don't put them in a listen, we already lean on them all day long. Don't put them at a even more disadvantage by leaving Teddy with a timeout and a minute 30. I think that's the biggest thing.
Back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Where are you at? We'll start with you, Eli. Where are you at with how? That's how I feel. That's my conclusion. That his feel for in game and how it's going and what should be happening is off.
So I feel there's a combination of factors, and I think I hit on it earlier. One is that he just doesn't trust the offense. He doesn't have faith that the offense can deliver in that situation, especially the offensive line and the run game, to pick up those 2 yards and run the clock and do that thing. The second is I sometimes feel like there's too many cooks in the kitchen. We've talked about this a couple weeks ago. There's DiFilippo, who's the passing game coordinator. There's Laser, who's the offensive coordinator. There's Nagy, who's the play caller. When it comes time to get the play in, who is talking to Nick Foles and relaying the information? Because you saw it at the beginning of the game with the timeout and then the delay of game. You saw it at the end of the game where they weren't sure how to line up. It's just sometimes you need to have the person in charge make the call, and that should be Matt Nagy. And I don't know if that's him or not, but there needs to be some line of communication to the quarterback as to what's going to happen. And as for his feel for the game, yeah, it's come up time and time again. Like, he does not believe in running the clock out and making teams burn their timeouts, which I just don't understand why you would put your defense, like you said, in a hole and give the other team their timeout in their pocket when you can take it away. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no. I'm all for zigging when folks zag and trying to do some different things and all that. But we've been watching football now for like 100 years, and in that situation, there's just never any situation in which you don't run the clock out in that situation, right? They got one timeout, a little bit of time. Even if you don't pick up, even if you don't convert, you got to look at it like, what is the worst case scenario of each one, right? Throw a pass. The worst case scenario is you throw an interception, pick six goes the other way, right? Second worst case scenario is throw an incompletion. You stop the clock. You give them the ball back with a minute and 20-something seconds and a timeout, right? Worst case scenario, you run the football. You don't pick up any yards. You force them to burn their timeout, and you end up punting anyways. Same thing, except for now you've burnt some clock and some timeout. So in that situation, I'm not really sure what you're trying to accomplish. Just go ahead and win the ball game. We were on our way to a victory. Just go ahead. Do what you got to do. Follow the conventional wisdom of what everybody else has done over the last 100 years in this situation. Run the ball, run the clock out. Don't get cute. I don't see any other way that you don't do that. Same thing with last week. We talked about last week in the fourth quarter, some of those drives, and really at the end of the game when you inexplicably give Tom Brady 90 seconds. You know, you don't do this. Luckily, yesterday it was Teddy Bridgewater, and he showed you who he is and gave the ball right back. But there's no real logic.
The D bailed us out both times.
There's no exactly. And to Sean's point earlier, why do you keep putting your defense in positions like that, right? Like, if you're a defensive player, like, look, man, we just pitched a shutout. You know what I mean? Like, why are you putting us back out there? Why just do what makes sense. Run the ball. You might pick up 3, you might not, but damn, you're going to burn the clock. You're going to burn that timeout, and you're going to make it a lot harder for them to come back and win this ball game and get that extra touchdown. So, overall, I agree with some of the feel for the game stuff. I will push back a little bit, though, on the fact I tweeted this out yesterday. Despite an abundance of mistakes and, odd things, he's 25-13 as a head coach.
Oh, for sure.
That means something. He's obviously figures out a way to win in spots where a lot of coaches can't figure out how to win. I know Sean doesn't want to hear this.
Well, no, but listen, go ahead. I got some takes on that because go ahead.
But, in situational football, luckily, we haven't been in those big spots where it's going to come back and bite us. But this is the Andy Reid, the Bill O'Brien. You get down into playoff games where it really matters, and you start making blunders like this, and that's when you really get that Mike McCarthy. You really get that reputation as a guy who cannot manage a game to a win. So I don't think it's come back to where we can point to a loss and say, hey, because Nagy did this unconventionally, it cost us a game. But to Eli's point, it might end up biting us back in the ass. It has not yet, though.
So 25-13 as a head coach, or is Fangio, like, do you know what I'm saying? This is the thing, bro. So, like, to say he's 25-13 as a head coach.
To say he's 25-13 as a head coach?
You guys,
you're good. You said to say he's 25-13 as a head coach.
Yeah. Okay, 25-13 as a head coach. When you said that, it rubbed me the wrong way because the guy comes in as the offensive guru. Who are all these offensive gurus and we don't score any points and we're literally winning every game 21-19. So, he's 25-13, but the defense has been carrying him the entire way. And he hasn't had a quarterback. I mean, I will say that. It's been tough, but there's a lot of situations where he doesn't help, and the defense has carried us throughout his tenure, and we haven't put up any points.
Yeah, he's not perfect, but you've seen bad head coaching where it literally costs you games week in and week out. I'm telling you, look at the Bill O'Briens of the world. Look at these guys who, the Mike McCarthy's, these guys who you've watched them in big moments not know how to coach a football game. And it ends up costing your team, right? So, like, I think you can nitpick on Nagy and you can find some things that he's not great at. Yeah, he's an offensive guru with no offense. I get it. But at the end of the day, whatever he's doing over there in Hallis Hall, they've won 25 games so far over the last 3 seasons that he's been there, right? He's won 67% of the games that he's coached in, regardless of if it's his offense, his defense, his whatever he's doing in that building, they're coming out with W's. You talk about these close victories, right? And how many the Bears have won, and we're tied with whoever for these close victories. That's coaching, because those can obviously go the other way. And let's not understate the fact that he has won 25 games without a competent NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, you look at the Bears' track record this year. Week 1, they probably lose if Matt Patricia makes any sort of adjustments in the fourth quarter.
Bad coach.
All right, week 3, Dan Quinn, who's already been fired, but again, no adjustments in the fourth quarter. Week 5 against the Bucs, if Bruce Arians has any discipline on that team, well, yesterday they showed it, but they committed penalty after penalty and just were sloppy. Like, sometimes it's just not being the dumbest coach on the field will get you the win. Like, it's not like these people are like Mensa candidates out here. Like, it's just basic math and understanding of situational football that I think Nagy can improve upon.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick, what do you think about what Eli said with too many cooks in the kitchen?
Yeah, I think that stuff like that shows itself in the delay of game after the timeout. It shows itself with I think when you were talking about that, I thought about Nick Foles last week arguing with Nagy on the sideline, right? When the obvious thing was to keep going in the hurry up. And is that a symptom of maybe too many cooks in the kitchen, maybe too many people saying, hey, we should slow this down, get back into our huddle? Who knows? So I haven't seen that problem up front, but I also haven't been looking for it. But if that's the case, yeah, 100% Nagy needs to be the one calling the plays because this is his offense. Those guys need to be working throughout the week, working with the quarterbacks, working with receivers, working with the offensive line, drawing up protections, scheming the run game. That's their job. But Matt Nagy is here to be a play caller, and then that's 100% what he should be doing. And he shouldn't be allowing these guys to cloud his vision on the field there.
Yeah.
But overall, 25-13. I mean, like, let's again. I'm Mr. Bears negativity. Watch the film. We talk about it all the time. You can go back the last 3 years. I told you guys at the beginning of the year we're gonna win 3 ball games. So trust me, I have plenty of things I'm not happy about with this team. But at the end of the day, man, they keep winning. He keeps winning. He's obviously doing something. I don't know if he had a conversation with Pagano, like, look, our offense sucks ass. You need to go ahead and just let them go out and play D. But again, he's doing something. I don't think he's like a Jason Garrett, where it was hard to really figure out what he was doing over the last 4 years. You know what I mean? I don't think he was Hugh Jackson, but I think he's actually involved. He's doing things. He has tons of things that he can improve on. 100%. He needs to take a class in situational football. He needs to take a class in proper calling of running plays, different things like that. But look, let's give him credit, man. He hooked Trubisky, which we all asked for.
Yeah.
Right? He has made some adjustments offensively yesterday as far as getting out the running game, but going to those short passes involving David Montgomery. He's found a way to get Jimmy Graham involved. Guys are developing under him. Shout out Darnell Mooney. If you had told me that Darnell Mooney would be the Bears' number 2 receiver and the 6th week of the season, and that he looks like a stud, or at least a very capable number 2 behind Allen Robinson, I mean, those things all matter. Those things are all on the coaching staff. I know yesterday they had a tough day with the offensive line, but overall this year, between last year and this year, the offensive line has improved dramatically. We could not protect the quarterback last year. When you got Nick Foles and Mr. Trubisky back there, you better protect those guys because they're not going to make plays. So little things like that, he has made improvements with this football team. We can't sit around and act like he hasn't.
Have you guys heard anything about the Allen Robinson contract situation? We're just going to let this shit. We're going to let one of our best players play the whole year without a deal and then have him pissed off at us in the offseason. That looks like the play, huh?
That's the Bears.
Yeah, and anger the whole locker room in the process. Yeah. Great idea.
Have you heard anything about it? It seems like the kind of story came up, but
it seems like they're talking, but like they're not. They're like completely so far apart that it's not even a worthwhile discussion. Yeah.
And Nick, I thought about you when I was thinking about that situation. When you don't pay your best guy, you kind of just let it linger. But winning solves everything, and it's the storyline kind of fades away. Like if we were 1-5, it would be a bigger conversation for him. He'd be talking. It'd be a bigger deal. You're
Right.
5-1. It's like, oh, I mean, I get a deal, I guess, when I get it, but like, it's not as big a deal when you're winning games every single week.
I mean, you know, he could also pull the old, you know, it's time to go out for the third quarter. Coach, Miami, it's a little tight. It's a little tight. You know what will fix it?
If they were
Fix it. Some direct deposit might fix it though.
The Alshon.
Hold out, baby.
But
Alshon was all. Yeah, let's not even get started on that.
Yeah.
But that type of stuff would happen if you were 1-5.
Yeah.
You're 5-1 in first
You'd
place.
you'd hear about the trade deadline coming up too. Like, oh, I wonder if the Bears can get a second round pick for him, something like that. Yeah,
because it comes off as selfish. You start talking. I even like it was funny. I didn't think this, but I could see how some people would start going this way. Like if you saw Eddie Jackson was obviously pissed off yesterday. He was tweeting up a storm about how he should have 8 touchdowns and, you know, a whole bunch of shit about pass interference. He did tweet, I'm happy about the W, but, you know, you could tell he was a little bit pissed off. But you know, the media sees shit like that. They run with it. Why isn't he celebrating with his teammates? So if A-Rob makes a big stink when they're coming back and they're winning all these ball games and all that, he's just gonna get dragged for it. But they know. Pay A-Rob, man. Stop bullshitting. I don't know who else you're paying on offense.
Yeah,
like, pay A-Rob, dude. This is stop bullshitting.
No, seriously, it's that.
It's not even.
Stop messing around, bro. Sorry.
And he's the type of receiver I think he's going to age well. Like he doesn't rely on like some crazy physical attributes. You know what I mean? Like he's a good athlete, but he's just a good receiver who goes out there and gets it and plays hard. Teammates like him, represents the community. I don't know what else they want, you know?
Yeah, that's a good
It's
point.
not like the Bears have a long storied history of developing wide receivers. Like, come on, like just pay the man his money and keep him in the lineup for as long as possible.
If you're gonna go get the guy, like we did, just pay him and keep him here.
Keep it moving.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, you went and got the guy to be the number 1 receiver. He's been the number 1 receiver. He's produced like a number 1 receiver. He's literally,
despite your quarterback,
he's by far the best player on offense.
He's probably left 600 yards out on the field due to bad quarterback play. Let's be honest here. How many touchdowns is Allen Rock should he have with a C-level quarterback? Like, come on, let's stop playing here.
He's never had a quarterback his whole
That's been his whole career, yeah.
His whole career, yeah. He's played with Blake Bortles, Mitch Trubisky, and what's his face? Nick Foles.
And in college, Christian Hackenberg.
Oh my God, terrible.
Yo, we got Hackenberg.
We're talking about number 1 high school recruits that just did not work out.
Was Hackenberg a big time recruit for Penn State?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
he was.
Fuck Penn State. You already know how I feel about them boys, man. I hope they shouldn't be allowed to play sports.
Yeah, don't get Nick going up.
I'm a big anti Penn State guy.
I'm with you.
Like
Bears have the Rams next week on Monday night, which is awesome because
the Rams looked like shit yesterday.
They looked really bad yesterday.
Nothing better for an opportunistic defense than Jared Goff.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's gonna serve you up some opportunity.
But nothing worse for an offensive line than Aaron Donald. I will say that.
That's true too.
Big facts.
But I'll say this about Goff: I've never seen a quarterback in NFL history be coached through like the whole play like this guy does. He literally it's like the Big 12 when they look to the sideline and they come back. You know,
it's like Oregon when they're holding up the signs.
Yeah, it's like this guy literally. Sean McVay is talking to that guy until they cut the mic off.
Yeah,
like every single play. I've never seen anything like it. I don't think he does. It seems like he doesn't do too much of anything. But
maybe that means it's mental with him. He's got a fucking cannon when he lets it go. So man, maybe that's the thing. Maybe he just mentally is just not able to comprehend what's going on out there. It's like, Jared, just trust your arm. You know, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. Like, all right, coach, got you.
McVay has been a godsend for him. Got him paid. He would have been out of the league without McVay. Or not out of the league, but he would have been a backup.
You saw him with the little putt golf at his crib and everying.
Yeah, he's chilling.
He's got the model chick. He's got the putt golf. And he's like, this is great. I'm Jared Goff.
He's winning in life. Yeah,
this is excellent.
Sure. Yeah, loser on the field, winner at life. Okay, let's close it out with this. Is it something or nothing? I guess we'll angle it that way. Brady gets a massive win. We needed the Packers to lose, and that was awesome to watch. I tweeted out Bears are 5-1, and the Green Bay is getting their doors blown off on national television. This is a great day. He gets a big win, 38-10. He goes out, talks to Aaron Rodgers at midfield, gives him a hug, talks to him for a little bit, pats him on the back, leaves. Last week, doesn't show Nick Foles any love, runs off, I know he did the fourth down blunder. He had that. Maybe he was angry. Something or nothing that Brady gives love to A-Rod, but doesn't give any love to Foles. Nick?
Nothing.
Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's Nick Foles. He can't not say what's up to Aaron Rodgers. It's just not, and they won. Nothing. If they had won it, he didn't say anything to Aaron Rodgers. I'd be like, oh wow, Brady's full asshole this year. But no, I think last week he was pissed off. I think last week he was embarrassed and wanted to get off the field.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's probably some petty bullshit between them, but it doesn't. It's just how competitors, I feel like, are. They're not going to say what's up after being humiliated and embarrassed. So,
but that's kind of for Tom. Like, that's kind of petty. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's always been kind of like that, I feel like.
I didn't like to see it. I don't like it. I don't like that he play. I mean, he essentially, I understand he wants to get off the field, but dog, literally he's probably going to shake the quarterback's hand after the other 15 games he plays.
Well, and Foles is sitting out there looking for him too. I mean, that Nick Foles and Tom Brady will never ever talk again, and that was probably the last conversation they were ever going to have. So yeah, I mean, it was interesting, but I mean, there's no way. I'll put it this way: there's no way he wasn't going to go say what's up to Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know.
There's just too much respect between the situation. Both California guys, like, yeah, they're.
Dude, when Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are talking, when Nick Foles' name they come up, he's like, dude, fuck that guy, he stinks.
I mean, I don't need to talk to this guy.
Like, these are different caliber. I get that, but come on, dog, you still got to go. You still got to go and say what's up to him. I think that's some petty shit. You lose a game, you don't go say what's up to the quarterback, and he beats you in the Super Bowl, so there's a little bit of an angle to it. But you get a huge win, and then you can't wait to get over there and talk to A-Rod. It's kind of
that's Tom though. Tom has been people. Tom Brady's an asshole. Some people like when he was yelling last week. Oh, I can't believe Tom Brady's yelling. Where the fuck have you been? Tom Brady's been undressing folks on the sideline for 20 years. Like that's just kind of how he is, man. He comes from Belichick and them. So yeah, I hear you, but I'm not prepared to make anything out of it. It was funny to see Foles just kind of like that was.
Yeah, ask Jimmy Garoppolo if he's always been nice to other quarterbacks. Like, no, that's how Brady is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just a surly guy, just with nice clothes.
I think that's why it was crazy that him and Bill got a surly guy with nice clothes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you think he's gonna be nice? He's got a fedora and everything. You're like, oh, that's Tom Brady. He just walks right past you.
Yeah. That's funny. All right, nothing there. I thought it was interesting. Seemed deliberate now. I didn't think it was deliberate then, but the way he ran up and talked to A-Rod, I thought it might have been some COVID stuff too. Like he didn't want to connect, and get close to other quarterbacks, but he was hugging 12 and
Tom Brady doesn't believe in COVID, man.
Yeah.
Giving him lots of love. So
he's got TB12. He's got a treatment for COVID. He's good.
Avocado ice cream.
Yeah. It's like yoga 6 a.m. I'll beat it in 2 days. Nothing.
Avocado ice cream. Don't worry. Just get a scoop of that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Bears next week, Monday night, like we said, against the Rams.
Prime time.
Let's go, man. Prime time. We know how Mac gets and the boys get on prime time, so let's keep it moving. Bears 5-1. I am here for Big Nick the Quick, for Eli Keberon. I'm your host, Sean Little. Make sure you subscribe everywhere. Bears 5-1. No Catch Us Sports Talk via Chicago. We out here.